I knew something was wrong the moment I stepped into NextGen Software's gleaming conference room. The morning light streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows cast strange shadows across the polished glass table where Jessica Morton and Lisa Powell sat waiting. Their faces were carefully composed, the kind of practiced neutrality that comes with years of delivering bad news. My heels click against the hardwood floor as I approach, each step echoing in the sterile silence. 18 years in this building, and suddenly it feels foreign. The air conditioning hums overhead, too cold, as always. Some things never change, even when everything else is about to. "Elena," Jessica says, her voice clipped and professional. "Please, have a seat." I settle into the ergonomic chair across from them, noting how Lisa's manicured fingers tap nervously against a manila folder. The folder has my name on it. Of course it does. "We appreciate you meeting with us this morning," Jessica continues, but I barely hear her. I'm focused on that folder, on the way Lisa keeps smoothing its edges, on the slight tremor in Jessica's typically steady voice. After nearly 2 decades in tech, I've learned to read the signs. This isn't a performance review or a project discussion. This is an execution. Due to an organizational restructuring, Jessica says, each word measured and emotionless, your position at NextGen Software is being eliminated, effective immediately. There it is. The betrayal I've spent months watching approach like a distant storm. Lisa slides the folder across the table. "This contains the details of your severance package." Her voice is softer than Jessica's, almost apologetic. Almost. I don't reach for the folder. Instead, I think about the email I wasn't supposed to see 3 weeks ago. "Clear your desk by Friday." It had been meant for HR's eyes only, but someone had slipped up with the distribution list. I deleted it immediately, but its words had burned into my memory. "The severance is generous," Jessica adds, misreading my silence for shock. 6 months pay, plus. "What about the algorithm?" I interrupt, my voice steady despite the anger churning in my gut. "The financial security protocol I developed, the one that's about to revolutionize how we protect client data?" Jessica's jaw tightens. "All work completed during your employment belongs to NextGen Software, as per your contract." Of course, that's what this is really about. Richard Hale, our ambitious CEO, has been watching my project gain attention. He's been attending my team presentations, asking pointed questions about implementation, market potential. I thought he was finally recognizing my contribution. Instead, he was preparing to claim it as his own. My phone vibrates against the table, drawing 3 pairs of eyes. An unknown number. The text preview catches my attention. "The advantage is yours. Prepare for what comes next." I almost smile. They think they're so clever, these corporate puppets with their severance packages and legal jargon. They have no idea what's coming. I stand, smoothing my blazer. "I assume that's all?" Jessica blinks, thrown by my composure. "Don't you want to review the severance terms?" "No need." I turn toward the door, then pause. You know what the funny thing is? If you'd bothered to check the development logs, you'd know I perfected that algorithm on my personal time, using my own resources. I meet Jessica's gaze. "But you didn't check, did you?" Color drains from Lisa's face. Jessica's expression hardens. "Elena?" "Send any further communication through my lawyer." I stride toward the door, my steps echoing with purpose now. "And Jessica, tell Richard he should have waited until after the patent was filed." The door clicks shut behind me with satisfying finality. In my pocket, my phone buzzes again. The same unknown number. "Stand by for instructions." The real game is just beginning. They thought they could discard me like outdated tech, sweep aside 18 years of innovation and loyalty. They thought wrong. I've spent my career developing security algorithms, protecting systems from threats. Now it's time to put those skills to a different use. I press the elevator button, watching my reflection in the polished doors. At 52, I'm apparently too old for NextGen's new vision, too expensive for their bottom line. But age brings wisdom, experience, and most importantly, contingency plans. The elevator arrives with a soft chime. As I step inside, I allow myself a small smile. They just made their first mistake, and if I play this right, it will be their last. The fluorescent lights in NextGen's adjacent building flicker as I scan another batch of internal documents. My fingers trace across confidential memos I've gathered over months, each page a piece of the puzzle I never wanted to complete. The clock on my desk reads 11:47 p.m. Security won't patrol this wing for another 13 minutes. I pull out the latest Philia strategic memo that makes my stomach turn. Richard Hale's signature sprawls across the bottom, a flourish of ego in black ink. The document outlines NextGen's cost optimization strategy, but the sanitized corporate language can't mask its true intent, systematically replacing senior staff with entry-level developers at a third of the cost. My eyes lock onto a single paragraph. Priority focus on redistribution of intellectual property rights from legacy team members to new acquisition targets. The words blur as anger rises in my throat. They're not just firing us, they're stealing our work. I slide the memo into my encrypted folder and pull up the development logs from my financial security algorithm. Every timestamp, every modification, every breakthrough documented on my personal laptop, developed during countless sleepless nights in my home office. NextGen never bothered to check where or when the work was done. Their mistake. My phone vibrates. A message from Daniel Brooks at Titan Tech. Received your email. Very interested in discussing further. Can meet tomorrow, 8 p.m., Blue Door Cafe. I lean back in my chair, letting the implications sink in. Titan Tech is NextGen's biggest competitor, and Daniel Brooks has a reputation for recognizing innovation. More importantly, he has a history of going after NextGen's market share with surgical precision. The patrol guard's footsteps echo down the hallway. I power down my laptop and slide it into my bag, leaving no trace of my presence. The memo feels heavy in my pocket, damning evidence of corporate greed, wrapped in letterhead and legalese. As I drive home, Jessica Morton's voice from this morning's meeting replays in my mind. Her practiced neutrality as she delivered the news, the rehearsed speech about organizational restructuring. I wonder if she even read the memo before executing its directives. My home office is a stark contrast to NextGen's sterile environment. Here, surrounded by books and equipment I've acquired over 2 decades, I've built something they can't take away. I boot up my secure workstation and pull up the patent application I filed 3 weeks ago, the moment I first spotted the warning signs. The patent office's confirmation email sits in my inbox, unread. I open it now, a smile tugging at my lips as I scan the official language. My algorithm, my name, my patent. Not NextGen's. Not Richard's, mine. Daniel's contact information blinks on my phone screen. One call could set everything in motion. Titan Tech's resources combined with my innovation could reshape the industry. But it would mean war with NextGen, and wars have casualties. I think of my team Ethan's brilliant coding, Samantha's relentless testing. They trust me. Following me to Titan Tech would mean burning bridges, risking careers. But staying at NextGen means watching our work be stripped away, piece by piece. The choice crystallizes as I review the evidence one final time. The strategic memo, the patent confirmation, the development logs. A hidden folder on my laptop contains even more emails, meeting recordings, documentation that would make any corporate lawyer sweat. I draft my response to Daniel. Blue Door Cafe, 8 p.m. I'll bring something that will interest you. My finger hovers over the send button. This is the moment, the step that transforms me from victim to victor, from discarded talent to valuable asset. I press send. The familiar weight of my office chair grounds me as I consider what comes next. 18 years I gave to NextGen, building their security infrastructure, training their talent, advancing their capabilities. Now they'll learn what happens when they mistake experience for vulnerability, wisdom for weakness. I pull up the complete dossier I've compiled, evidence of NextGen's systematic dismantling of senior staff, proof of intellectual property theft, documentation of age discrimination masked as restructuring. Tomorrow, Daniel Brooks will see exactly what I'm offering, not just an algorithm, but ammunition. My phone lights up with his reply. Looking forward to it. Come prepared to discuss terms. I close my laptop, darkness settling around me like a familiar blanket. Tomorrow, I'll sit across from Daniel Brooks and reshape my future. But tonight, I allow myself a moment to appreciate the irony. NextGen wanted to silently push me aside. Instead, they've given me the perfect reason to show them exactly what I'm worth. The war room I've created in my home office holds the weapons for this battle: facts, figures, and irrefutable proof. But my most powerful weapon is one they never saw coming. I have nothing left to lose and everything to reclaim. I watch the live feed on my tablet, a half-empty cup of coffee growing cold beside me. NextGen Software's board of directors files into their pristine high-rise conference room, their usual confident struts replaced by hurried steps. Richard Hale stands at the head of the table, his typical smooth demeanor cracking under pressure. Even through the grainy live stream, I can see the sheen of sweat on his forehead. The situation with Elena Carter is being grossly misrepresented, he says, his voice carrying that familiar patronizing tone. Her contributions, while valuable, were made under the company's direction and resources. A board member, Sandra Chen, I recognize her sharp feature taps her tablet screen. That's not what these documents suggest. She turns her device, displaying what I know are the internal memos I made sure would find their way to the right hands. The timestamps, development logs, and email trails paint a very different picture. Through my window, I catch a glimpse of the gathering media circus outside NextGen's building. News vans line the street, their satellite dishes reaching toward the sky like mechanical flowers hunting for sun. My phone buzzes with another stock alert. NextGen shares down 12% in morning trading. At my desk, I spread out my evidence in precise rows. Each folder represents months of meticulous documentation, development logs, email threads, timestamps of every breakthrough made on my own time. My fingers trace the coffee-stained edges of my research notebooks, filled with handwritten algorithms that would become the backbone of my security protocol. The weight of 18 years settles over me as I review each piece. But instead of feeling crushed, I feel lighter, stronger. Each document is another brick in the foundation of my defense, my offense, my future. I've spent my career building walls to protect data. Now I'm building walls to protect myself. I won't let them erase me, I whisper to my empty home office. The words feel like a promise, a battle cry, a prophecy, all at once. The restaurant Daniel chose for our meeting is exactly what I'd expect from Titan Tech's CEO, understated elegance, with private booths designed for discretion. Classical music plays softly overhead as I slide into the leather seat across from him. His sharp eyes assess me with the same intensity I use when debugging complex code. Elena, he says, pouring water into my glass, I've been following your situation with great interest. Have you? I take a careful sip, studying him over the rim. Along with the rest of Silicon Valley, I imagine. He smiles, but it's not the practiced corporate smile I'm used to from Richard. This one holds a touch of genuine admiration. Your security algorithm is revolutionary. The fact that NextGen failed to recognize its value and your worth is their greatest mistake. And Titan Tech wouldn't make the same mistake? We're prepared to offer you the position of Chief Technology Officer. He slides a folder across the table, the leather portfolio embossed with Titan's distinctive logo. 2.5 million signing bonus, 5% equity, and complete autonomy to build your team. His eyes lock with mine, including any former NextGen engineers who might be looking for a change. My phone vibrates against the table. A message from Ethan. Team meeting set. Secure channel ready. Across town, in a dimly lit co-working space, I know Ethan and Samantha are huddled around a laptop, coordinating with our most trusted team members. Their loyalty isn't to NextGen, it never was. It was to the vision we built together, the innovations we created side by side during countless late nights and early mornings. Another message pops up, this one from Samantha. 15 confirmed. More coming. The exodus has begun. I glance at the financial news ticker, scrolling across the restaurant's discreet wall-mounted screen. NextGen software stocks plummet as patent controversy deepens. Another headline follows. Titan Tech shares surge amid acquisition rumors. The familiar chime of an unknown caller cuts through the moment. I consider letting it go to voicemail, but something instinct perhaps makes me answer. Miss Carter? The voice is digitally altered, unrecognizable. There's something you should know about your former employment contract with NextGen. My hand tightens around the phone. Who is this? A friend. Check section 47.3, subsection B. The devil's in the details, isn't it? The line goes dead. I look up at Daniel, who raises an eyebrow in question. The portfolio lies open before me, its contents promising a future I've earned through years of undervalued brilliance. But that call, I pull up my copy of the NextGen contract on my tablet, my finger hovering over the search function. What hidden clause could change everything? And more importantly, who wants me to find it? The screens of 3 laptops cast a blue glow across my home office as I review the final details of my counterattack. Each monitor displays a different piece of the puzzle: patent documentation, development logs, and a secure video conference window connecting me to Sarah Chen, one of Silicon Valley's top intellectual property attorneys. The timestamp documentation is impeccable, Sarah says, her crisp voice filling my headphones. They won't be able to dispute your independent development claim. I lean back in my ergonomic chair, surrounded by meticulously organized binders containing 18 years of research notes. And the employment contract? The development clause is standard boilerplate. Won't hold up against your personal time logs and independent resources. Sarah taps her pen against her desk. We can file the patent registration within the hour. My fingers hover over the keyboard as I pull up the encrypted email drafted for Ethan and Samantha. They've been waiting for my signal, knowing this moment would come. The message contains precise instructions for their coordinated departure from next-gen timing is everything. Do it, I tell Sarah, hitting send on the email. The soft whoosh of the outgoing message feels like the first domino falling. Through my office window, I watch the San Francisco fog roll in, shrouding the city in gray. Somewhere in that urban maze, Richard Hale is about to discover just how badly he's miscalculated. The next-gen software press conference is a masterclass in corporate desperation. I watch the live stream on my laptop as Richard Hale takes the podium, his usual confidence replaced by barely concealed panic. The recent departures represent a standard organizational restructuring, he announces, tugging at his collar. Next-gen software remains committed to. A hand shoots up from the press section. Mr. Hale, can you comment on the patent filing that went public this morning? The reporter's voice carries clearly through the audio feed. Specifically, the timestamp showing Dr. Carter developed the algorithm independently. The blood drains from Richard's face as security personnel rush to distribute printed statements damage control packets that are already obsolete. On my second screen, I watch the real-time coverage explode across tech news sites. My carefully leaked documentation, complete with internal memos and development logs, dominates every headline. Sources confirm next-gen software attempted to claim proprietary rights to independently develop technology. Scrolls across the bottom of the screen. Another outlet runs with, veteran innovator exposes corporate theft attempt. My phone buzzes with a text from Daniel Brooks at Titan Tech. Green light on the PR campaign. Ready to move. Within minutes, Titan Tech's official channels light up with statements from industry experts and analysts, all validating my claims. The narrative shifts faster than NextGen can control it. Richard stumbles through another non-answer, but the damage is done. In the corner of my screen, NextGen's stock price continues its downward spiral. This is a disaster. Richard's voice carries through NextGen's boardroom walls, according to my source's live updates. Where's legal? Someone get me a strategy. But there is no strategy that can save them now. Board members shift uncomfortably in their chairs as Richard's desperate attempts at damage control backfire. Each contradictory statement, each fumbled explanation only adds fuel to the fire. Sir, a junior executive interrupts. We're getting calls from major clients. They're requesting meetings to review their contracts. The news spreads through NextGen like wildfire. Employees gather in break rooms, sharing whispered conversations about the unfolding drama. Years of pent-up frustrations with management bubble to the surface as my story validates their own experiences with the company's toxic culture. My phone buzzes again, another update from the inside. Hale's called in crisis management. Too late, though. Your evidence is already trending. As the sun sets over San Francisco, I watch NextGen's stock price hit a 5-year low. My own team has safely extracted Ethan and Samantha confirmed their resignations hours ago, along with key members of our development group. The evidence they provided to the internal investigation team was just icing on the cake. A notification pops up urgent email from Thomas Grant, NextGen's newly appointed CEO. The subject line catches my attention. Employment Contract Clause 7.3. I open the message, curious about this last-ditch effort at damage control. The carefully worded text hints at a previously overlooked clause, one that could provide a foundation for mutual resolution. Leaning back in my chair, I allow myself a small smile. They think this is their ace in the hole, but really, they're just revealing how desperate they've become. I'll let them sweat overnight before responding. After all, I didn't spend my career developing security algorithms just to be outmaneuvered by corporate politics. They thought they could discard me, but instead, they just made themselves obsolete. Tomorrow, we'll see just how much that overlooked clause is really worth. The cameras flash like lightning as I stand at the podium, my spine straight as steel. Titan Tech's expansive press room buzzes with anticipation, filled beyond capacity with journalists, industry analysts, and most satisfyingly several ashen-faced next-gen software executives. Daniel Brooks steps back from the microphone, having just announced Titan Tech's exclusive licensing rights to my financial security algorithm. His confident smile tells me he's enjoying this as much as I am. The stock ticker crawling across the screens behind us shows NextGen's shares in freefall. Miss Carter will now present the technical details of her groundbreaking innovation. Daniel announces. My heels click against the hardwood stage as I take his place. The room falls silent. I face countless presentations in my career, but none as vital as this. My fingers brush the sleek remote in my hand, and the first slide appears on the massive screens. What you're seeing, I say, my voice carrying clearly through the sound system, is the original development log of the Financial Security Protocol dated 18 months ago. I click through to the next slide. And this is the email chain proving I developed this innovation using my personal resources on my own time. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. In the third row, I spot Jessica Morton's face, drained of its usual smug confidence. She whispers urgently to the NextGen lawyer beside her. The evidence is conclusive. I continue, bringing up the patent filing documentation. Every timestamp, every digital signature, every development milestone is documented and verified by independent experts. Camera shutters click frantically as I methodically dismantle NextGen's claims. Each piece of evidence lands like a precise blow. Internal emails exposing their attempts to claim my work. Research logs proving independent development. Time-stamped patent filings that protect my intellectual property rights. The questions come rapid fire from reporters. Miss Carter, will NextGen face legal consequences? What are the implications for the industry? Did Richard Hale personally orchestrate this attempt to steal your innovation? I handle each query with measured precision, watching my words cascade across social media in real time on the tracking screens. NextGen's representatives squirm in their seats, their phones lighting up with what I imagine are increasingly panicked messages from their board of directors. 2 days later, I stand in the federal courthouse, sunlight streaming through tall windows onto polished marble floors. The room buzzes with tension as my legal team prepares to present our case. Richard Hale sits across the aisle, his usual tailored appearance somehow diminished under the fluorescent lights. Your Honor, my lead counsel begins, her voice steady and clear. We have irrefutable evidence that Miss Carter developed this algorithm independently, using her own resources and time. She gestures to the mountain of documentation before her. The defendant's claim to this intellectual property is not just incorrect, it's fraudulent. The next 3 hours are a masterclass in legal precision. We present documented evidence, confidential memos revealing NextGen's attempts to claim my work, proprietary development logs with timestamps proving my independent creation, even security footage showing me working late in my home office on the dates in question. Richard Hale's lawyers attempt to counter, but each argument falls flat against our wall of evidence. I watch his face grow increasingly pale as our case builds to its inevitable conclusion. Your Honor, my counsel states, rising for her final argument, we're prepared to offer NextGen Software a licensing agreement. She pauses, letting the tension build. At 4 times the standard market rate. The judge's ruling comes down like a hammer. The licensing terms stand. Richard Hale's face contorts with barely contained rage. The industry analysts in attendance scramble to update their reports. This ruling will send shockwaves through the tech sector. The aftermath unfolds like a perfectly executed program. NextGen's leadership structure collapses within days. Richard Hale's resignation announcement plays on every major network, his usual arrogance replaced by barely concealed defeat. Jessica Morton's public apology, clearly crafted by crisis management experts, rings hollow against the backdrop of plummeting stock prices and fleeing clients. Meanwhile, Titan Tech's market share soars. My former team, now my new team, celebrates in our sleek innovation lab. Ethan raises a champagne toast, his grin reflecting the vindication we all feel. Samantha hugs me tight, whispering, "You showed them what real innovation looks like." The internal investigation at NextGen reveals exactly what I'd suspected: a systemic pattern of discarding experienced innovators in favor of cheaper, younger replacements. The tech blogs and industry publications can't get enough of the story. Elena Carter's brilliant counterstrike, one headline reads, "How One Woman Outsmarted Corporate Greed." As the dust settles, I receive an encrypted email from Thomas Grant, NextGen's newly appointed CEO. My office is quiet except for the gentle hum of servers. The message is carefully worded, hinting at a hidden clause in my old employment contract that could alter the licensing agreement's terms. I lean back in my chair, considering the implications. They're desperate to salvage something from this disaster. But I've learned never to underestimate corporate desperation. It makes people dangerous. The cursor blinks, waiting for my response. I've won the war, but something tells me the game isn't quite over. The question is, what move will NextGen attempt next? And how far am I willing to go to protect what I've built? I closed the laptop, watching the city lights flicker outside my window. They thought they could discard me, erase 18 years of innovation with a single termination notice. Instead, they learned a crucial lesson. Experience doesn't make us obsolete, makes us dangerous. The future stretches before me, full of possibilities I never imagined when I walked into that conference room months ago. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just winning, it's forcing your enemies to watch as you succeed beyond their wildest fears. The morning light streams through the floor-to-ceiling windows of my corner office at Titan Tech, casting a golden glow across the mahogany desk. I trace my fingers along its polished surface, savoring the contrast to my cramped workspace at Next General. 18 months ago, I sat in a sterile conference room while two HR representatives delivered what they thought was my death sentence. Now I stand 40 stories above San Francisco, watching the fog roll across the bay. My new office tells its own story of transformation. The cutting-edge displays lining the walls showcase real-time data from the security protocols I've implemented in my algorithm, enhanced and expanded, protecting millions of transactions every second. Each success is a quiet rebellion against those who tried to dismiss me as obsolete. The soft whir of the automatic doors breaks my reverie. My assistant Sarah appears with a stack of reports. The board meeting starts in 10 minutes, Dr. Carter. I smooth my blazer and gather my tablet. The boardroom awaits, and this time, I'm not walking in as a victim. The Titan Tech boardroom is everything NextGen's wasn't: warm lighting, ergonomic chairs, and walls adorned with inspiring quotes from innovators throughout history. My favorite catches my eye. Innovation is not about age, but vision. Daniel had it installed the day I accepted the CTO position. As I settle into my chair at the head of the table, memories of that other boardroom surface: Jessica's clipped tone, Lisa's nervous fingers, the manila folder with my name. But those ghosts hold no power here. They taught me the most valuable lesson of my career. True strength lies not in tenure, but in knowing your worth and refusing to let others define it. The room fills with my team faces, bright with purpose, tablets ready. Ethan Rivera takes his usual seat to my right, while Samantha Lee settles in across from him. They followed me from NextGen, believing in my vision when others couldn't see it. Their loyalty wasn't just rewarded, it was multiplied. Later that evening, the banquet hall buzzes with celebration. Crystal glasses clink as Titan Tech's finest gather to mark our latest milestone, the successful launch of our enhanced security protocol, now protecting twice as many clients as NextGen's entire portfolio. The irony isn't lost on any of us. Through the crowd, I spot Jordan Matthews, a recent hire from a rival firm with a story eerily similar to mine. 28, brilliant, and nearly broken by corporate politics that valued conformity over innovation. She hovers near the dessert table, looking slightly overwhelmed. The chocolate mousse is exceptional, I say, approaching with 2 glasses of champagne. Though not quite as exceptional as your work on the quantum encryption module. Jordan's eyes widen as I hand her a glass. Dr. Carter, I thank you. I was actually hoping to speak with you about the module. There's this application I've been considering. Walk with me, I interrupt, guiding her toward the quieter end of the hall. Tell me about this application. And more importantly, tell me about your last performance review at Quantum Dynamics. For the next hour, we talk strategy, innovation, and survival in an industry that too often mistakes experience for expendability. I see in Jordan's eyes the same fire that fueled my own resurrection, the determination to prove worth through excellence. Never let them make you doubt your value, I tell her, my voice firm. The moment they try to diminish you is the moment you know you're threatening their comfortable status quo. The conference hall falls silent as I approach the podium. Hundreds of faces turn toward me: industry leaders, emerging innovators, and yes, a few former NextGen executives trying not to look uncomfortable. The irony of being their keynote speaker isn't lost on me. Innovation, I begin, my voice carrying clearly through the state of the art sound system, isn't bound by age. It isn't limited by gender or tenure or corporate hierarchy. True innovation comes from those who refuse to accept artificial limitations, those who know that their worth isn't determined by others' narrow vision. I pause, letting my gaze sweep across the audience. In the front row, Jordan Matthews leans forward, hanging on every word. Behind her, Ethan and Samantha exchange knowing smiles. I stand before you today not as a victim of corporate betrayal, but as living proof that our greatest setbacks can become our most powerful catalysts. I reclaimed my future by never surrendering to betrayal. Let my journey remind you that your worth is defined by you alone. The applause thunders through the hall, but I barely hear it. Ethan and Samantha are the first to rise, leading a standing ovation. Their faces beam with pride and shared triumph. We've come so far from those uncertain days at NextGen. Around them, our entire team stands, each one a testament to the power of loyalty and innovation. Even Jordan Matthews is on her feet, her expression full of newfound determination. My mind is already on tomorrow's challenges, the next innovation, the future we're building at Titan Tech. As I stride out of the building into the bright morning light, my heels clicking against the polished floor with purpose, I allow myself a small smile. Through the glass doors, I catch my reflection, confident, powerful, unstoppable. The sun bathes the scene in golden light, a perfect metaphor for the limitless opportunities ahead. They thought they could write my ending. Instead, they only wrote their own. What would your next move be if you found yourself betrayed at work? Share your ideas and experiences in the comments. Let's inspire each other.